Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my August 2019 horoscope report for you. It is my intention with this video to give you the things that I think you need to know to help you make this the best month possible and learn some astrology while you're at it. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and see all of the resources I have there, including amazing new and full moon blogs to assist you in maximizing those power periods we have every month. If you are into how I teach and you want to learn for personal or professional purposes, check out my astrology apprenticeship program, also on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Go to radicalprayerbook.com to see my new book, which is an Amazon bestseller, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which has become a beloved favorite of my fellow spiritual seekers. So what's in the stars for you this month? I'm going to go into lots of details, so let's check them out now. Hello Capricorn friends, I'm so excited to give you lots of details about August 2019 for you. We've got 2 new moons this month, bringing in amazing new beginnings. The climate of the month is much lighter and less emotional than what we previously walked through with the eclipses in July and the water energies. We've got a lot of zesty energy. And starting in the middle of the month, we've got open times from personal planet retrograde. So for your launches and big things and gelling the opportunities that came to you in the eclipse time and the retrograde time, this is amazing for that. We have Jupiter going direct. So things that had been stalled out for a few months have a chance to push forward in a huge way. We've got a massive amount of sweetness this month, far more sweetness than mischief, which is rare when that happens. So I'm going to go into lots of details about where you can find mostly happy surprises this month. Really, 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 really notable amount of sweet energy bringing happy surprise potential, and a couple of mischief makers, which we'll also talk about. Then I'm going to give you a special section on Transcending negative astrological patterning. This is a very big research project of mine over the last couple of years. Couple of decades. For almost 20 years that I've been doing astrology, my main focus has been how can we make the most of the potentials and how can we free ourselves from the limitations of astrological patterning. So I have a special section for you on that. And then we'll talk about the general transits, where I will give you those beautiful dates and the ones to watch out for this month. So lots in store. We're going to look at the charts now. Okay, so here are all of the juicy details for Capricorn. A lot of the things I talk about will be true for early, middle, and late degree placements, but there are going to be times where I differentiate out some slight differences in possible manifestations for some of the aspects, in which case you'll want to know where you are in the early, middle, or late designations. So early caps are pretty much our December born, or 0 through 9 degrees. Middle caps are around January 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees. And late caps are January 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. And yes, if you're watching for your moon or your rising sign, this reading is equally as relevant for you. And in that case, you would just use your moon or rising sign degrees in these, designations to see where you are. I myself am a very late degree Capricorn moon, so I'm in there with all of you. Okay, so my theme for this month is happy surprises, and I will go into some more details, including dates of the sweet aspects and more about the dates of the challenging ones when we talk about the general transits. Or actually, I probably will be mentioning the challenging ones because there's only 2. But I'll go into more details about the dates of the happy aspects in the general transits. But now we're going to talk about what those happy surprises, what areas those happy surprises are going to show up. So first I want to give you a little background about what we're looking at, and then we'll drill down. I'm going to use the early chart for right at this moment, but then I'll show you the places where there's differences. Okay, so I just want to paint the picture here. What is happening in the stars is that between, 14 degrees of Leo and 6 degrees of Virgo, there are going to be a series of notable aspects. So these are the happy ones. There's some more at a different area here where I'm not going to get into right at this moment. Okay, but I just want to show you what's happening. So as these placements, and we're not talking about this one, and this one moves too quickly, we're not really talking about that one. But as these, and then this one, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, move through Leo, they are going to trine Jupiter. Okay, now Mars has already done this in July, but the rest of these planets are going to come and make the most favorable aspect in all of astrology with Jupiter, which is going to be direct August 11th. So anything that had been expanding several months ago and sort of came to a stop, Jupiter moving direct can start to bring things forward in a huge way. And it's going to herald its happy moving direct party with these beautiful trines with these placements in Leo. Okay, so that's the first piece. Then as these placements move into Virgo, they're going to make trines with Uranus. And this is the surprise planet. Now Jupiter can bring surprises too, but Uranus is known for them. And when Uranus gets together with other planets in a beautiful formation, as they're going to be connecting this month, then it's more likely the surprises are happy. Okay, so as all these planets go and move through the 6-degree Virgo point, because that's where Uranus is going to be hanging out all month, they're just going to click, 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 click in this beautiful formation with Uranus. Okay, so that's the layout of what's happening. So now we want to look at the types of surprises that can come in based on where in the chart this is happening for you all. So for the early degree, actually for everybody has this energy of 7th and 8th house as the main part of the equation. The two differences are going to be that early people, you've got your Jupiter link here in the 12th house, and the middle and late have the Jupiter link in the 11th house. Okay, so that's going to bring in some slightly different manifestations, but we'll get to that. Now with Uranus, the early and middle have this surprise energy in the 4th house, and then the late could be in the 4th, but for many of you that could also be in the 3rd. And even some of you very late middle degree placements, you might feel some of the 3rd. Okay, so let's get a little grid going here so that it's easier to see all of this. Oh gosh. Okay, so for early, middle, and late, across the board, the 7th and 8th house is part of this. For the early, we've got very solid 12th house. In the middle and late, we have 11th. Then for early and middle, we have 4th house. And for late, that's 3rd. And actually, we'll put 3rd, 4th for middle. Okay, so you can see here for early, 4th, 7th, 8th, and 12th. We'll talk about what this means. I just want to get organized here. For middle, 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 12th. And for late, 3rd, 7th, 8th. Oh, I said 12th here, but this is 11. Okay, so middle is 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 11th. And then the late is the 3rd, 7th, 8th, and 11th. Now, knowing what goes on in these houses is going to tell us where there's more of a likelihood that the happy surprises are going to be. So what happens in the 7th house? This is our house of relationships, and the 8th house is also a relationship house, but there are some other factors there. So for all Cappies, okay, relationship surprises, and those are mostly going to be positive. Now, it's just in the, there's one aspect on August 2nd and one aspect on August around the 15th, 16th, where Mercury is going to come to this point of 6 degrees and make a square with Uranus. Actually, on the 2nd, it's Venus. You can see from right at the beginning of the month, Venus is at 6 degrees, so it's making a square with Uranus. So that's like a bump. And then on the 15th, 16th, when Mercury comes and goes in this place where Venus is, it will make the square with Uranus. So those are the two times when there could be bumps on the road with love and money. Jostling news, a little jolt. But the fact that the rest of the month is so positive in those areas makes me think that there could be a quick resolution, and that's just a momentary bobble. All right, so what we're looking for is sweet boosts with anything having to do with your personal relationships. Okay, so this could be new love. This could be a boost to your current relationship. This could be something great with one of your employees or finding one. This could be great for finding a practitioner that you need, a counselor, or an electrician, or anything like that. This could be great for having a new neighbor that you're just so happy and relieved that the person that moved in the house is a person that you love and looks like you'll hit it off with. Okay, so sweet things having to do with personal relationships are increased in odds. Now remember, because every once in a while when I talk about the potentials, which is what horoscopes are all about, we don't know what's going to happen, right? And there are a lot of factors in your personal chart that we can't take into consideration. But every once in a while, I'll get someone that says, well, the month passed and I didn't have a happy surprise in that area. Well, that's going to happen. First of all, there are too many factors to count. Second of all, this is increase in potentials. Third of all, if you are not magnetic to sweet relationship experiences and you are blocking it out because of belief systems or karma, then even the astrological potentials can't get around that. So if you're over here and you've got this storyline, it's your story about how you're betrayed or how you're a victim or how something, and you're getting that out to the universe, and then these potentials come in, they line up here with the planets, and they're trying to beam something, it can't get past that storyline wall. So, but if you have any resonance with these potentials, then the odds are increased that they will manifest. All right, now the 8th house is also accentuated for all early, middle, and late degree placements. And the 8th house is relationships with resources. So if you need to refinance something or get financing or buy a house or buy something expensive, I like the middle of the month and after a little better. But really from like the 7th, 8th of August on, for closings and other negotiations, the energy is much more clear. So big agreements, important contracts, people going into publishing contracts, any kind of contract that is important, where it's involving shared money. This could also be inheritances. It could be the sale of something, sale or buying. This could be getting support from any kind of like capital funding or something like that. This could be, credit card access or loan access, school loans, or anything like that. So a boost, a happy surprise. If you're someone that thought that you could not buy a house because of certain aspects with your credit, give it a go this month, because the odds are increased that you'll have a happy surprise, and there may be something in the gray areas that you were not aware of. But if you do research, it gives the potentials more of a chance to manifest. Okay, so this section of 3rd and 4th houses, okay, so 3rd for the middle and late, 4th for the middle and early. There are those little bumps that could give you a housing or, real estate ding, but there's so much more available to mop it up. Okay, so early and middle, really good chance of something involving housing. Now, if you're borrowing money and there's money involved with the housing, all early, middle, and late have a chance because of that 8th house tie-in. All right, but if it's just like straight housing is the issue and the focus isn't on finance, something about moving, something about finding the perfect person to move into your house, anything having to do with houses and real estate and home-based projects, even like working from home. If you want to give working from home a go, your launch for this in August could be amazing. This is one of my favorite times of the year for anything like that. And it's especially lined up for you all because of these houses. Okay, so happy housing surprises. For middle and late, this 11th house is going to get some beautiful blessings. And this is coming from, now we're talking about Jupiter. Okay. So Jupiter is here. We're looking at the late degree chart, but you middle friends have that there too. So sweet aspects involving 11th house can have to do with any internet-based project. It can have to do with friendships and social media. If you're trying to give social media things a go and you have a launch involving internet or social media, I love, love, love this month for that. So I'll go into more details about all the dates when we talk about the general transits. You'll see me come back on the screen here soon, and then I'll give you those details. And remember that you can sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com, and you get a month early my write-up with the dates that I like and the ones to look out for. So for your planning purposes, that can be helpful to see it in writing. 11th house can have to do with any acquaintances or groups that you're in, if you want to lead groups or if you want to become part of a group or your tribe, anything like that. You could have happy surprises with friendships or new friendships, your previous ones, anything like that. Early friends, where you've really got this energy with Jupiter and the happy surprise stuff strong in the 12th, this can have to do with major spiritual breakthroughs. Now, spiritual breakthroughs are available to anyone at any time, regardless of what's going on. So, let that be known. But there is some special energy for you, Cappies. Now, if there's someone dealing with an addiction or some deep fear, a fear or a limitation that's been holding you back, can dissolve. Just like break up into nothing. At this time, there could be a breakthrough that you have psychologically that can change your life. So sweet expansion. And do note that especially early, and some of you middle, as Jupiter is moving through this 12th house, which now it's going to be doing that in full force as it's direct on August 11th, that your intuition is going to have a chance to expand in wonderful ways. And if you are a level-headed Cappy, as most tend to be, and you start seeing weird things or having weird experiences, it's very possible that Jupiter is there facilitating that because it's trying to expand your awareness of the lesser seen world. Everything that we know of now that we've, quote, discovered was undiscovered and unknown before we discovered them. And so I think it would be very arrogant of humans to think that there aren't countless things out there that we are not consciously aware of yet, but people who are sensitive, and this is going to increase your sensitivity, are aware of these things. And even ancient texts have alluded to certain things that science is catching up with now. So your intuition will heighten, maybe dream activity, and you middle degree Cappies, you're going to have this brewing starting soon, and then you late degree, you're going to have this more towards the end of the year. So this is a very exciting time for expanding consciousness. Before we get to the special section on how you can transcend negative astrological patterning and then get to the general transits, I realized that I never went back and talked about what Uranus aspects in the 3rd house could look like. Okay, so remember we've got 2 mischief makers, so a couple of little bumps and bobbles in the section I'm about to describe, but lots of sweet potentials in the 3rd house, but definitely a couple of things to watch out for. So the 3rd house rules transportation and communication. So definitely cars, devices. You could be blessed with getting your perfect vehicle or other vehicle, like a boat or a bus pass, or if you're having trouble with your mobility in any way, having it rectified in an amazing way. Or a bike or something like that, or a device. You can upgrade your communications in a huge way. So there could be bobbles, okay? So you have to watch out, be a little more careful with your devices when you go to the bathroom, dropping them in the water, things like that, and when you're driving or walking or being mobile. So watch out for the jolts, especially around the 2nd and 16th. But the rest of the month has all of these great potentials for newness. And the second half of the month I like the best for getting new things, although starting around the 7th and 8th of August, and then through the rest of the month, if you have to get anything new regarding communication and transportation, then there's lots of amazing energy, and that could be how it manifests, any kind of upgrade there. Third house also has to do with siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles. So you could have some jostling news, but a lot of potentials with doing something with one of these relatives. So that can come that way. Writing projects could have a little bobble and then boost. Anything having to do with communication. Okay, so I wanted to make sure we fit that in. I am going to get to the dates of the sweet aspects when I talk about the general transits, but first I'm going to pop in a bonus, which is talking about how to transcend negative astrological karma and truly make the most of the astrological potentials. So if you want to watch that, then I highly recommend it. And you can just keep listening. And if you are not interested in that, which I do think you'll be missing something if you do, but if you want to just go straight to the general transits, then just fast forward until you see me back on the screen. And then I will give you the dates for those sweet aspects and some other pieces about the general transits that will definitely be affecting you. Okay, welcome to my special section on transcending negative astrological patterning. This has been a focus of mine for the entire time I've been doing astrology, which has been almost 2 decades now. I have always gone into astrology as a self-development tool, understanding what's going on so that we can use the information to create the best experience from it. Now, the more you follow astrology and you start to see the amount of things that are true that you can see in there, both from your wiring and the things occurring in the stars, then you start to, some people will start to get a fatalistic attitude towards it and think, wow, since all of that's in there, I must be doomed to continue experiencing that. And for many people and in many instances, that is actually occurring if you are not actively clearing the negative astrological patterning. There's a very complicated discussion as to what it is we bring in with us astrologically and where those pieces come from. But for this discussion, I'm going to focus on strictly the genes, the DNA, the genetics, okay? So this has to do with our ancestry, our bloodline, and things we pull in genetically. Now, we don't just pull in medical issues genetically. We don't just pull in how we look genetically. I believe that we pull in belief systems, and as we are imprinted with these potentials in the genes, we are then in a situation where nurture, our environment, can help to express those potentials or help to express different potentials. So, if you're feeling trapped in something that has been a pattern in your life, whether or not you also notice that that was a pattern in your genealogy, there are ways that you can get the better end of that. If there's something awesome programmed in, like you're a math wizard or an artistic genius, then yeah, we want to keep that, right? But we're talking about the negative astrological patterning, these belief systems that are creating our reality, a lot of times completely out of our awareness. And even when you start to become aware that it's in there and you're creating from it, the task of clearing it up is, very rigorous self-development. But it can be done. Those subconscious programs have to be dealt with because those are creating the environment for your cells, for your DNA to actually express. So I want to talk about a scientist. His name is Bruce Lipton. He's a stem cell biologist. You can find Bruce Lipton on YouTube. You can get his book, The Biology of Belief. Okay, this is landmark stuff here. And it directly relates to astrology because astrology shows us genetics, basically, that we come in with. And I'm seeing this more and more all the time. All kinds of genetic issues and genetic tendencies are being carried over. You can see them in the chart. Okay, so the biology of belief, you can find that to go deeper into this. But basically what happened, okay, so I'll give you the story of what's gone on, because this is going to help empower you with the goal of transcending negative astrological patterning, to understand this from a scientific perspective. Okay, so the basis of the biology of belief is that genes do not control life. Okay, that's a big bomb, right? Big bomb. So when Bruce Lipton was doing experiments that brought this epiphany, he was going into a cell and removing the structure called the nucleus. Okay, so the nucleus is the structure that contains the genes. So if genes control life and you throw away the nucleus, then there shouldn't be anything to control life in the cell, right? Okay, so he explains that there's a joke that the cells can live for 2.5 more months with no genes at all, and they still carry out all of the complexities of life. Move around, eat, breathe, you know, just they move through life. So then the first thing you have to ask is, who's controlling the cells if it's not the genes, right? So this is a really big deal. Okay, so then the big boom for him came, where he had, so basically he would put stem cells, isolate one stem cell and put it in a petri dish. Okay, then it would divide every 10 hours, and after a few days he'd have thousands of cells. All right, so they're multiplying, they're dividing. So they all came from one cell, meaning they were genetically identical. So then he got to where there's like 10,000 cells in a petri dish. Okay, then he would divide, separate out the cells into 3 petri dishes. Okay, so he takes them from there and he puts them in there. Okay, so now these are genetically identical cells. Okay, this is the thing to note. Then what he did is he changed the growth medium. Okay, so the liquid in there, he changed. He made, so the cells are identical, but he changed the growth medium. Okay, so that's basically the constituents of the environment. All right, so these red and orange and green pieces, or matter here, that is representing different environments. Same cells, genetically identical, different environments. So then what happened was, the first dish formed bone. The second dish formed muscle. And the third dish formed fat. All right, so hopefully you're getting this. This is clicking, because this is like, it's mind-boggling stuff. Identical. And then they formed all these completely different outcomes based on their environment. So what he is saying, and I concur, is that our environment is what is calling the shots. Now, of course, there are other factors, and we could nitpick and look at, and analyze, and nothing is as simple as one way, right? But this is a huge piece. So this means that if we change our inner environment and be mindful of our outer environment, we can start to change how the astrological potentials manifest for us in the form of our life and our experience. Okay, it's very exciting. Okay, so a basic summary is the environment includes a massive amount of factors, and we won't get into them all now. But included in the environment is our perceptions, which are shown when we look at the astrology. When we're looking at a chart, all of the different placements in there, different signs and houses, they're showing us a tendency towards perceptions. And even the outer transits, when they're happening in the sky, when planets are getting together, certain configurations, they tend to create us having a tendency towards certain perceptions. A perception might be we're excited, hopeful. A perception might be we're like a victim and there's a tyrant, you know. So these different tendencies to have a perception, we can see those astrologically. So the tendency to have a certain perception is synonymous with karma. If we see something a certain way, we draw to us certain experiences. So basically, changing perceptions changes karma and changes the DNA expression, which changes potentials, which changes outcomes. So we can basically have more say in our lives by changing our perceptions. Seeing how the perceptions we have are creating our experiences. And sometimes they're deep inner, unconscious, subconscious perceptions, but you know you're having a certain perception because of the outcome. Like if you are having trouble with money, you know inside you have a perception that you can't earn money, that you, for whatever different reasons, you know, if you have a perception inside that you can't trust partners, well then you pull in people that aren't trustworthy, you know, things like that. So pinpointing perceptions, which you can do very nicely with astrology, shifting the perceptions with tools, like I always, you know, suggesting EFT and many other things, help to change those perceptions. And that changes the environment, which affects the whole cascade. It's very empowering. It does create a need for accountability, though. Like, our current circumstances are sourced within us and outside of us, but because that's part of the environment, but our inner environment, we can affect our perceptions, and then we can still change all of that. So you can see from all of this why I always talk about inner work and why I can't separate astrology from coaching or suggesting inner work and self-development, because how you experience the stars is going to depend on your perceptions. And if you want to have a better experience, you have to change the perceptions. Well, then you have to use the tools to change the perceptions. And that goes from a victim mentality to true empowerment, that we have the power. So you have the power. You have the power to change your life. You just have to be diligent, consistent with effective inner tools. I'm calling the theme of August 2019 for all signs, happy surprises abound. This is one of my favorite months of the whole year for sweetness and magic and wonderful things. There are way more sweet aspects this month than there are salty ones. And in fact, we really only have two little troublemakers that I'm most concerned about, where everything else is just sweet. Now, do note that because we are so soon after the eclipses, that earth-shaking eclipse news can still be coming in from July, but they're not coming in from the aspects in August. Those are carryovers from these major events in July. If you haven't already watched my June and July reports, then definitely check that out, because there are pieces in there that are very relevant for this whole period of time. And in the June report, I go into the details about how each eclipse worked your sign individually. So I see those reports as a sister companion to this report as well. So this is a very unusual month. It's very rare that we have like at least 12 beautiful aspects and only 2 difficult ones. So we do have a couple of things to look out for. So I'm going to go into those things. The first thing we need to know is, besides the eclipse changes that are coming in and are starting to set foot, that's definitely still very current in August. If you had things come to you in July and you were holding off to officially sign or to officially put things into motion for the opportunities that came to you in July, I love the middle of August and after for that. There are some sweet days in the first half of August, but those are for more short-term contracts or ones of lower stakes. I am going to go into the dates that I love most for what here in a second, but just be aware that Mercury went direct right at the very end of July. So really at the beginning of August, we're very much covered in Mercury retrograde, and really until August 15th, there's, confusion or uncertainty or still ironing things out, or kind of like temporary or bridge agreement type of energies. But it is a good time to wrap things up, but a lot of new things are also going to be coming in. So that's exciting. So the whole month is definitely very sparkly with zesty Leo energy. And this is burning bright with creative potential. This is, a wonderful month full of the combination of zest from Leo and grounding Virgo. And whenever we have energy like that, it really helps us to be super productive, because there are so many potentials crackling around, but then we also have this, wherewithal and focus to do something about it. So it can really bring substance to that glowing creative potential. It's a truly magical time in the cosmos. So this is one of my favorite months of the whole year for taking big steps, for basking in glory of events that led up to come to fruition now. So basically for projects that have a shorter term intention, like a 6 to 9 month project, or something that is just a carryover of something you've been working on, August 7th, 8th, 11th, and 13th could be great for that. For the ones that you are doing like a major launch, big steps, life-changing decisions, long-term things, long-term commitments, my favorite dates are the 21st, the 26th, the 28th, the 30th, and the 31st. So you can also get a write-up of the dates, why I like the dates, what could happen around those times, and other things to look out for a month ahead in your inbox when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, you will get my write-up a month before the actual month, so you can have a written version of my general transit report for you. Plus you get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So you can check that out at AnnieHelpsYou.com. So drama and stress are more likely in the days around August 2nd and August 16th. Those are the only times where, now, like I said, not to say that drama can't come from something in your personal chart. Our personal chart is something that we can't really take into consideration when we're looking at horoscopes, because there are so many individual factors in your individual chart that we can't see in the horoscopes. But from the general horoscope perspective, it's very clear sailing. So I'm just going to point out the challenging ones. On August 2nd, we have this Venus in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. So even though the theme of this month is happy surprises abound based on all the sweet energy and also a lot of sweet aspects with Uranus, which is why I have the word surprise in there, because Uranus tends to bring surprises. When it's in a challenging aspect, sometimes those surprises are not welcome. And this August 2nd one could be unpleasant or jostling, especially in the areas of money or love or your certainty within yourself. So definitely also guard your physical body with extra care and walk with more awareness, okay? Because it's more likely that something will come flying from a window when you're walking, or, that you just have to pay more attention at this time and guard your physical body. And also just be aware that some bumps might come in the areas of love and beauty and money. The second one that, again, this is an aspect with Uranus. This energy is very much the energy of surprises. And if you've been watching my reports over the last few months, you'll notice I've been using the word surprise a lot. And that's because eclipses bring them in. Sometimes they bring in something that we've expected and hoped for. And in that way, it's not exactly a surprise, but when it actually comes to fruition, it kind of feels like a surprise. So, but then sometimes eclipses also bring in surprises where we're like, we don't really like that. But eclipses have a similar energy to the planet Uranus, and Uranus brings in just like things out of the blue, jolts to your nervous system. And sometimes those are happy jolts, like I said, when they're in sweet aspects, but when they're in these challenging ones, that's when you got to watch out. So we have two of those challenging ones this month, the first and the second. First one is on the 2nd of August, and the second is on August 16th. Now, since that one on August 16th is energetically combined with the full moon in Aquarius, that could be, even though it's a positive full moon in a lot of ways, and I love it for a lot of reasons, this combination of this other aspect being near it is a mixed bag, because you could have something sweet occurring at the same time as the surprise comes in. And since it's in Mercury, it rules news. It also rules mobility. So like being extra careful when walking and driving. And, you know, this is the standard place where we warn, don't text and drive. Don't walk and text. Don't be on your bike texting. Things where your physical body really needs to be minded more, or other people's. This is a time where you don't want to push your luck. So shocking news and other events are more likely. I have seen this manifest as a pleasant surprise, even though it's a difficult angle, but one that brings either exhaustion or some sense of like overdoing, or like you're being challenged in the way that something surprise has come in, but now you have to make room for it in an otherwise also very busy schedule already. So I have seen it manifest that way. But everything else is just sweet, 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 sweet. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits, is just a lot of sweetness. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You'll get to see more details about why I like those days that I listed, and what my why I think that they're amazing times for launches. So I go into like an itemized look at each day and each transit in that report. So if you love the way I teach and you want to learn astrology for personal or professional purposes, I can train you how to be a professional astrologer, and I can also assist you to just use it for yourself and your friends. You can check my program out, Astrology Apprenticeship Program, at anniehelpsyou.com. And if you like written horoscopes by me, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. And a month early, I have up more simple, less detailed, but still very helpful, because they're written and they've got very important pieces. And a lot of times I talk about different things for your sign than I talk about in the videos. So they're complementary in that way. So you can check those things out. Look at my book, radicalprayerbook.com, or you can just search for Annie Botticelli, Radical Prayer on Amazon. My wonderful little book of prayers and affirmations to help you live in your highest expression. You can see that at radicalprayerbook.com. And check out my husband's website, B.R. Newman, I Am Helios, IAMHELIOS.com, where you can see all the goodies and the things that he's getting himself into now that will be very helpful for you as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.